Welcome back to the Nerdy Grail. Now, as you can see behind me, I have got Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 1 and Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, because I've got a bit of a unique video here for you today. Not only am I going to be talking about something and a franchise that I wasn't sure I was going to talk about, and is probably one of the most twisted and demented franchises ever in mankind, even worse than Terrifier in terms of how demented and intense it is, but also because this is both an unboxing and a movie review. Now, I need to apologise in advance because I originally filmed my actual unboxing of the Blu-ray that I'm going to be showing you, but all the footage got deleted and corrupted, so unfortunately I've had to do it all over again. So I have already seen the artwork, but I'm still going to do an unboxing for you, and I'm still going to do the review of the movie that is in this parcel which arrived earlier today from HMV. What movie am I talking about? Well, if the Blood and Honey didn't give it away, and obviously the thumbnail and clip that's played before this didn't give it away, I'm of course talking about the next in, I believe they're calling it the Twisted Childhood Universe, or tagline as the Pooniverse. Yeah, I'm talking about Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. And oh my goodness, it made me feel sick in more ways than one. It is one of the most twisted, demented, and intense movies I think I have ever watched. And I've watched a lot of horror movies now, and obviously, like I said, comparing it to the Terrifier franchise, this one was even more twisted. But I'm going to waste no more time, and I'm going to just jump straight in, starting with unboxing and showing you the Blu-ray of Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Yes, like I said, the first part of this is an unboxing. A failed unboxing to start with, but I'm still going to show you it anyway. So yes, I got this earlier today from HMV, the next in the Twisted Childhood Universe, which is going strong, strangely enough. There's obviously enough interest in them for them to keep doing these movies. We've obviously got the two Blood and Honeys. We've now got this Peter Pan. I know we've got a film, Bambi the Reckoning, coming out later on this year as well. I know they're doing like an Avengers Assembled style one, and I know they've got lots in the pipeline. So it is bizarre to me. But here it is. This is the Blu-ray of Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. He's every parent's worst nightmare. And just by the picture alone of the creepy Peter Pan, it is an intense movie from start to finish. Literally, before the title sequence even gets going, it hits you hard with the gore. But I'll discuss that in the movie review part of this. But there is the front of the Blu-ray. A decent looking image, I must admit. All of them seem to be using pretty decent images. Pretty creepy as well. Really does set the tone for the movie. Rated 18. Then there is the spine, which simply says Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. And all the spines actually do match up quite nicely. So for your collection purposes, it will look quite nice on your shelf. And then there is the back of the Blu-ray, and then there is the description of the movie and some of the special features, which has a behind-the-scenes featurette, deleted scenes, and a trailer for the movie. So the description says, Wendy Darling strikes out in an attempt to rescue her brother Michael from the clutches of the evil Peter Pan. Along the way, she meets Tinkerbell, who will be seen taking heroin, believing that it's pixie dust. Yeah, wow, what a strange movie this is. So, there's a full wraparound of the artwork on the regular Blu-ray edition of Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Now, at least over here in the UK, there's no steelbook or anything. We just got the Blu-ray and the regular DVD, and this release came out today. And then inside, nothing too special, but we do have disc artwork, which the disc artwork is just a more close-up version of the picture on the front of the Blu-ray cover. So there you go. Nothing too special. Like I said, just a regular Blu-ray release. And boom, there it is. So that is my unboxing side of this video for Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. But now what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of a movie review on this and what I think of the Pooniverse or Twisted Childhood Universe in general. Okay, so movie review time for Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Again, he's every parent's worst nightmare. And wow, That 18 rating there on that certificate, which, just quickly again, as to why it's an 18, strong violence and gory images, and there is a lot of gory scenes to begin with. What is the plot of Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare? Well, you've got this demented character of Peter Pan, who he's basically a kidnapper who goes around kidnapping children and believing or telling the kids that he is taking them to this magical place where they can grow up, never grow old, there's no parents. Basically how they describe Neverland in Disney's Peter Pan, you know, a place where they can remain young forever, they have no responsibilities and they can do what they want. But in a bit more of a twisted way in this one. But it turns out actually all he's doing is he's just harming the kids and killing them in the end. As we find out throughout multiple aspects of this movie, it is twisted. He's assisted by this person known as Tinkerbell, who turns out to be a previous victim that Peter Pan kidnapped and tricked into believing that his parents never wanted him and no one ever cared about him. So Tinkerbell, who goes by the name of Timmy as well, is his real name, tricks him basically into staying with him for many, many, many years. And so uses Tinkerbell as sort of his helper to make sure that the kids are comfortable and stick around, and he does Peter's bidding really whenever he wants him, and also provides him with a substance that he needs in order to keep his delusions going, which they call pixie dust, but obviously it's not pixie dust. So yeah, it's a very twisted film. They do have the characters that you would see in a Peter Pan film. For example, we do have John, Michael, and Wendy, who are your core protagonists. Michael is actually the one who gets kidnapped in this movie by Peter, and Wendy has to go and save Michael. John's not really in the movie very much, so forget about John really for the most part. It's mostly Wendy and Michael from the two boys, from the kids. I must admit, the actors, in terms of the child acting, teenage acting, you know, for like Michael and Wendy, are actually not too bad. Sure, they're not great because in a movie like this, you know, it's not top class A-star acting. But to be fair, I must admit, as these films have been progressing, at least I can say the acting has been getting tolerable, you know? It's not a travesty, it's not awful acting, you know, it's believable, and that's the case here. You believe the fear in the children. You believe the determination from Wendy that she's going to get her brother back. You know, it was good. You believed how demented Peter and Tinkerbell were in this movie. What I will say about Peter is the person who plays Peter is absolutely fantastic and really creepy. The personality that they give to Peter in his delusions is really intense, because he goes from playing this like childlike, happy-go-lucky man, really, to lure the kids in with a false sense of security that they're best friends, you know, high-pitched, squeaky, childlike voice, and then can instantly snap and turns demented, sinister, and aggressive. And it's funny at times, actually, to how quickly he changes, but also really scary, because this film is quite scary at times, I must admit. You know, and for, you know, with a concept like turning Peter Pan into a horror film, turning Winnie the Pooh into a horror film, you know, it's weird, but that's what happens. But they also have other Peter Pan characters in this as well. Like from the very beginning, before the title sequence comes, we've got a bit of like a cold open or a bit of a scene to set the scene, where there's a child and his mum, you know, are at home, you know, and Peter's on the hunt for his next victim. We find out that the kid's name is James, which, if you know about Peter Pan, Captain James Hook. And yes, the child does turn out to be Captain Hook by the end. But Peter kidnaps the kid because he spotted him at the circus, and Peter was at the circus in disguise, chose James to be his next victim, followed him home, and then kidnapped him after killing his mother in a very brutal way. And then the title card goes, and then we're introduced to our other characters of Michael, John, and Wendy. And then the story progresses like that, with Peter kidnapping Michael and Wendy having to save him, which she does by the end. And we do get to meet Captain Hook again, or James, who's now, obviously, it's been 15 years. There's a 15-year time jump, and he's now twisted himself, you know, from being held captive by Peter for so long. He looks quite mutilated and beaten. One of his hands is missing now and is replaced by a hook. And so, yeah, it's quite sad at times, really, to be honest. But how this is going to connect to these films and seeing Peter again in a future movie, because we don't know if Peter's gone or not. Well, we know he's not gone. He's sticking around because he gets dragged away by Hook, but we don't actually see him die or anything. And in the end, they do another time jump of about a year to Michael's next birthday, because all this takes place on Michael's birthday. On his next birthday, the phone rings, because that's Peter's calling card as well. When he's kidnapped the victim, he sends them a little phone call playing this old music on this vinyl record, childlike music, to taunt them. That music plays on the phone again when Wendy answers it, and she knows that means Peter is probably still around and could be after a bit of revenge for the beating that she gave him for taking Michael. But yeah, oh my goodness, what a movie this was. It was creepy. It was intense. I honestly struggle to rate these movies because I don't know how serious I want to be in rating these movies. If I'm honest, like in terms of enjoyment, sure, they're enjoyable to the degree of they're so weird, the idea of having a Winnie the Pooh horror film or a Peter Pan horror film, that I find them enjoyable just because of how kooky and crazy they are. But in terms of actually like full-blown normal movie level enjoyment, these obviously aren't the best movies. They're just too weird. But, you know, can I say that I'm not going to watch the next one when it comes out? The next one, I believe, being Bambi the Reckoning. I'm going to end up watching it. I'm going to end up watching all of them because I have to know how this continues and how they end up merging all these franchises together to do an Avengers-style movie. It's going to be wild and wacky. But that is Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please like it by giving it a thumbs up and comment down below. Have you watched this movie? Did you pick it up on Blu-ray? Have you seen any of the previous movies in this franchise? And are you going to continue to watch them? And subscribe if you are new. But for now, this is the Nerdy Grail signing off. I hope you've had an amazing day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now, everyone.